Hello my friends and welcome to my gameplay video of Othercide. This is a gameplay feature on Recollection 1 very early in the game. I'm quite new to this game. I am Icon and I welcome you to this little video. It will show you how this game works. I'm going to explain the basics and the ropes of the game. So this video is primarily aimed for people who are wondering, is this game cool? Is it something I want to play? How does it work and what does it bring? So overall you have to fight hordes of evil with your with some randomly spawned daughters of some esoteric storyline. I don't really want to go deeper into that because it would be pretty spoilery, and I don't want to spoiler. I don't like that. And you have three basic classes you can use for your missions. There's the Shield Bearer, the Blade Master, and the Soul Slinger. And with these three basic types of unit, you are going to slaughter hordes of evil. You have some skills available for every unit, with the Blade Master being a very effective but squishy damage dealer, the Soul Slinger being a ranged supporter for your team, and the Shield Bearer being the source of tankiness and crowd control for your fights. It's a pretty basic scenario, with the twist that your units can only heal if one of the other units sacrifices themselves, which has at least the same or a higher level than the unit. So damage is permanent, you can't save or load, so this game is a permadeath game. But when you're done with your run, you just go for the next recollection, you reset the game, you get some permanent goodies, you get more powerful, and the cycle of blood, death, and gore continues, and you hopefully get a little bit further in the story. And that's the basic gameplay loop of the game of Othercide, and it comes with a lot of really nice graphic values to on top of that. So let's create a daughter here. Let's create Melody. You can name them as you want to. It's not that important. I'm going to do a new Shield Bearer because I don't have any more of them, which aren't wounded.
Unleash her on any who stand in her way.
Let's go into a mission and explore the game a little bit deeper on that. So to continue, you need to destroy synapses, and whenever you have destroyed one synapse, you can go for the next day. And when those days have passed, you have to encounter a boss fight, and if you beat that, you can proceed. If you don't beat that, you have to go to the next recollection. So let's get into that and kill some synapse. We have to bring up a team there, so my Soul Slinger here is very wounded, so I don't want to bring her onto this mission. So we'll bring Grace, Constance, and Felicity here, and that's one of each class. Alright, so you see here a little bit of the objectives. We need to hunt all creatures. We see which enemies are available and a little bit about the map. Let's go into there. I really do like the black and white and red artwork of this game.
Take away his tools of torture.
And overall, the aesthetics of this game are wonderful. The storyline is very dark and unnerving, to say the least.
Specimens to cut and probe and flay.
So these are the hordes of the evil entity we only know as the child, and we have to kill all these 6 enemies and we're good to go. So you can inspect your enemies like that, and you can look up their skills. It's quite useful to know that. And we have now our turn to go. So right now I really want to see what's up here. There's one scavenger up there, cursed therapist up there, a plague doctor up there, and we don't see the other 3 guys yet. Every enemy unit has a certain pattern and a certain behavior, which I won't be explaining here too much, because that would be spoilering the fun. So Grace can't reach any targets right now, so I'm moving her a little bit. So let's check that. Her shooting range is quite high. I see that with the red borders, and I don't want her to move too far. So there we go. Oh, I got this wrong, sorry. Constance, of course, is the first one. The timeline here depicts who's going to be the next in in turn. So let's have a look at that. Constance, then goes Felicity, then goes Grace, and then go the baddies. So we have one full turn to wreak havoc on them. So I have a ability to do bad things to those guys, but everything is just close ranged. So we're going to move Constance over there and then end that turn, because I don't want to use her action points completely. So instead we're going to bring Felicity over here and move her here and wait there. I'm going to explain what I'm doing in a moment, because the action point system here has quite some unique behaviors, and I want to explain that in a moment. So we're ending our first turns and our enemies are getting their first turns. So now that guy moves and he goes for a delayed action called Massive Shot. And now the Scavenger moves. Plague Doctor moves, and well, next turn will be some fighting. So this guy's action is now what the game calls a delayed action. He does that, and 80 time units later he gets to shoot a terribly strong attack on some of my people. And because I don't like that, I'm going to move Felicity in his face and use the slam skill, which will delay the target's action by initiative units. And when that happens, they're out of business, because a delayed action counts as cancelled. So I use the slam and kick him out of his action, and there we go. So now she is in what the game calls a burst action. Whenever you use more than the half of your action points, you get into that burst mode. And when somebody's in burst mode, that basically means they're going to act later. When you use only half of your action points, you get set into the middle of the initiative. If you use all your action points, you get set at the end of that. Long story short, if you use all your action points, you're not going to be able to counter shots like that. So, but at the same time, you get a lot more actions per turn. The ideal quota would be to make sure that you don't use all your get all your daughters into the burst mode, because if you would do so, you would be unable to counter anything. So I use my Blade Master here just to walk into this guy's face, and she's in burst here now too, and end that. But I'm okay with the burst modes here because we're fine. We can do that. Moving Grace a little bit more forward. There's only scavengers now on the table, but these are okay. We can deal with them. They are one of the weakest units in the game, and I'm going to end Grace's turn now while she still has action points, because I don't want all of my daughters to be in burst mode here. So yeah, we're getting some damage here, but I wasn't able to play that one perfect. But as I said at the beginning of this video, I'm quite new to this game too, so the basic value I was taking out of this idea here was this video is quite spoiler free, because I play horribly. Because you see here why these scavengers are quite deadly. They were getting 4 actions before Grace was, no, 5 actions before Grace was allowed to move again. And that was her not using her burst action. So chances are she would have been dead if I wouldn't have let her wait it like that. I'm sure there are way better ways to play that, but, well, I did my mistakes. Now I have to pay for them. But since this game revolves around permadeath and these no save this no save gameplay, I'm okay with that. So new enemies are spawning there, and we're getting 2 people in between there, and you see here in 25 time units there's 1 more spawn. Keep in mind, time units only pass while you're either using a delayed action or ending one daughter's turn, which means when I move her up down there, that doesn't move time units at all. So time units only move when you use delayed actions or end somebody's turn. Here's an instant action, for example. So she's already in burst, so I'm using all of her time actions, because if somebody's already in burst, you might as well use all the units. It doesn't make any difference there. So also the game knows what flanking means. Flanking is when somebody else binds the unit in melee, and then somebody gets some attack in between. Some nice stuff to utilize, but I don't want to go too deep into that because this is just a basic preview of this game. So the last enemy, the Cursed Therapist here, went into his delayed action shot again, but it's also the last enemy, so I don't mind using another burst action, and we won. So as you might have noticed out of that, it's all about finding the balance between using all your actions, using which actions, and I didn't find an opportunity to use the reaction skills, which trigger when some condition is met, like an ally gets wounded or an ally wounds an enemy, but all these reaction skills cost HP, and that's a permanent investment. But yeah, that's that. Here's a level up for one of my daughters, and we get back to that screen here. And now we're allowed to level up Constance. So she doesn't learn a new skill. That would be at Mastery 5. There's two more things I want to talk about. So your daughters can gain traits, something like here, Arrogant. She gets less XP but does more crit damage. And there's also the option to upgrade your skills with memories. Memories are items you loot from your enemies, and you get to upgrade your skills with those. Like the memory of Inferno gives your targets some initiative decrease, and there's a lot of different things to work around which utilize and which make your units a little bit more unique. So every time a daughter levels up, she gets to decide, or not level up. Whenever she gets a new skill, you get 2 different decisions to take. So there's a little bit of customization in there as well. Most of the customization goes by the memories on your skills and the traits. And if you decide to sacrifice one of your daughters, let's see, do I have one here? She has the aggressive trait, and if I sacrifice her to regenerate somebody else, there's a chance that these traits get carried over and influence each other. So that's the, well, that's not base building, but that's just squad building minigame. Yeah, and that's about that. And once you're done with your recollection, you get to buy yourself remembrances from those currency items here, and then you get to start a run with 2 memories, which would be 2 upgrades for your skills. You start your run with 15% more max health for your daughters. And as you see here, most of these are locked right now. They're all locked behind some things, close synapses, deal a total of damage. So you unlock them across the game and pump up the fighting power of your runs with that. So it's a roguelite, and in this meaning, and there's a lot of grind behind that, but I personally love combat-based tactical games, and this one is quite challenging. The basic units already have the potential to wreck you up if you take it too carefree, and if we look here at the codex, there's a lot of enemies here, so there we are. A few of them are already here shown, but you see there's a lot of question marks, and that means there's a lot of strategy to use against these enemies, and I'm looking forward to that. And if you like this video, drop it a like or drop me a comment or whatever you think about it. I hope you enjoyed this overview of the game, and yeah, see you guys next time. Goodbye.